Now let's assess the tariffs' impact. I'm joined by Yan Liang. She's the chair professor at economics at Willamette University in the US state of Oregon. Great to see you on the program tonight. Now, China has only targeted certain energy products exported by the US rather than implementing a full-scale reciprocal retaliation. Which industries do you think will be biggest affected?
Yeah, I think, China is really trying to put some constraints, I would say, on the U.S. actions, but without inflicting too much pain, I think, in both countries. Because, China's approach is always, we wanted to have constructive dialogue, we want to resolve these issues, trade issues through negotiations rather than tit for tat. But at the same time, China does have to retaliate, right, to deter any sort of further aggression. So I think the move that China has is a restrained one, but it does, I think, hit Trump's pain points, right, in terms of the energies that, Trump really wanted to have the drill, baby, drill approach. So, curbing these energy exports from the United States to China through this tariff is going to really drive home that China is not going to cave in very easily. Now, that said, I think it remains to be seen whether the two sides could come to some kinds of negotiations, some phone calls, which I think it has been anticipated by the market, but it remains to be seen. I think at this point, neither side wants to really sort of pick up the phone first. So it would be, interesting to see the next few days and weeks.
And even though we've been here before, we heard just there, from Poppy, that Trump is ramping up his agenda. He's including allies in his tariffs now. How do these escalating trade tensions, do you think, compare more generally with the US and China tariff disputes of the first Trump administration? Do you think China is more prepared this time round?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, you're right. The first round of the trade war, China was the main target. But this time, I think Trump is really waging this tariff stick to many countries, including the most, close allies. And I think that would really backfire in the sense that even though some countries like Japan, for example, and Australia was mentioned earlier, that they're going to increase investment in the United States. But I think ultimately, many of these countries would feel that these kinds of unilateral tariff is really hurting, right, the trade relationships and also the broader alliances between these countries with the United States. And it undermines the U.S.'s credibility, right, in its leadership in the global, economic system and trading system. So I think that would backfire. Now, when it comes to China, I do think this time around China is more prepared, right? They learned a lot more from the first time Trump trade war, but also it has been, in a way, Trump-proof its economy. For example, the Chinese exports to the United States now has gone down from 19% of its total exports back in the Trump #1 to now only about 14.6% last year. So in a way, China has been diversifying its trade partners. It has been upgrading its trade structure to be more competitive. It also has reduced reliance on dollar for its cross-border payments. And last but not the least, it has been really pivoting towards domestic demand. So all of these, I think, will help China to, in a way, cope with these external shocks from a position of strength.
All right, and maybe not have the impact that Trump was hoping for. We'll have to wait and see. Yan Liang, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.